Hey everyone, Pesmore here, and welcome to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning, don't say that backwards. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth? Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 777 card is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True? Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? And Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here. To hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something. And the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be a baka, bitch. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court. Right. See ya. This is it. This is the final battle. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Don't say that backwards. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is where the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Gant. Morning, folks. How has everyone been doing? Hey, Yuji. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. You'll see about that. What's all this about, defendant? I'd like to make a simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what is your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Fuck, what did you do with Emma, huh? You fucking mewing bitch. Huh? I'll confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. Yeah, you don't, but Emma does, so fuck you. But Lana, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. Yeah, to an attorney, but not an ace attorney. I got your back. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. A request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there is no further need to continue this trial. Even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise, this can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant...
Objection!
Fuck yeah! Let's go! One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant's guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. But why don't you just be a good little bitch and keep your mouth shut, huh? I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the little naive boy you wish you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, huh? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, bitch. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. When the morning's gone, you can't go on. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Correct? Yeah. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events once more. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember, this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is that incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes. Okay then. He sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. trip to yesterday. What? Is that a real word? Okay, the trip to yesteryear has finally begun. I'm so curious if that's a real word. It's bound to lead to the truth behind the shut up, phone! It's bound to lead to the truth behind the trial. Yesteryear. Oh, well, yeah, it is a real word. Who knew? Not me. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Marshall in the chest. Well, that was a short testimony. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. Yeah, but she's traumatized though. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth. What the hell does this have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Oh shit. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yeah, she was the second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yeah, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Guy used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Anna promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning that day. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark decided to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were 2 people present during the Dark's questioning. This is the Dark, okay. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in? I don't clearly remember what happened then, but... Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. It was pitch dark in that room. You shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yeah, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Bruce Goodman, the victim. So you spoke with Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yeah. That's what was so scary about this trial. And you told Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time the words just couldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes. I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. Yeesh. That's strange. I took over the case after Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken. But I did draw it! I swear! I'm not just imagining things! This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. Guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. The scene that imprinted that image in your mind. Can you describe it? The man... That must have been a real shock. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside as the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. That was it? Okay, good. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. She was 14 at the time. I mean, yeah, still little, but she's... whatever. And yet you would insist on denying its existence. Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. Yeah, not wrong. All I'm saying is that the prosecutor for that case, as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list of the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over, what's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's the picture I drew! Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here. No, not really wrestling, more like one's gonna fucking die. And the other, well, already won. What is the meaning of this? What are you doing with that thing? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case was given to you. Huh? What? Order! Order! But Miss Sky, why did you draw the picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a damn minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, I don't have a good feeling about that. Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that is quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is there something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Oh, he tweaking. Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing! Still haunting everyone's nightmares. That's that thing! That's that thing dancing in the evidence room! Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. She has what? She just gave up at this point. She's like, what the fuck? She's like, what the hell? She already gave up. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about the picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She gave up the moment you mentioned the blue badger. She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning would burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. You know, since she couldn't see the face, it could be Gant killing, Marshall, disguised as Dark. Which sounds kind of familiar to Case 3, huh? Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 hours, days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Goodwin was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Don't say that backwards. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness, but can you please tell us what this picture... why it was painted in all black? So, at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. Turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further, you heartless bastard? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Ha, the shoe's on the other foot now, bitch. Anyway, this picture... Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course! This is the exact scene! Was it influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No. I better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives. So I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's been bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet... there's clearly a contradiction here. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. To be honest, I reloaded the save so many times, I don't really get it. Huh? But I remember it like it was yesterday! Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. The contradiction lies here, of course. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see his tip is broken. Shit. Okay. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence! See the murder weapon? His tip is broken too! If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim attacked a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murderer weapon should not have been broken. Ooh. What is the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. I sense a question coming. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she was correct. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, bitch. There is. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. What? Order. Order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the scene. Room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It was my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Dark's. Could there have been one? If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, can't just be explained away by a simple observation error. Mr. Wright! In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon is already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this, the real murder weapon. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon! Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall's holding? That's a broken knife! As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order. Order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be! Oh? Why not? Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have to be Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. True. What's going on? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth, What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with the picture scribbled on the back. I knew it! This picture! I'm the one who drew it! What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Why the whatever. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Wasn't that traumatizing? Not the killing, but the blue badger. Perhaps it'd be best if we added this to the testimony. Would you please tell us what you recalled, Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. Yeah, it should. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Why? This is certainly most unusual. Yeah, you're telling me. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hasn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may begin. Stop! Please! Don't pursue this further! Damn. Lana? Don't say that backwards. What is the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this! I already confessed to the crime! Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. When you say that, man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes, at the time I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the event. It's also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. And you... Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced Dark was the one who was holding the knife. But as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help the other person. What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I didn't remember everything clearly. What I did, it was all kind of a blur. Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl, but may have resulted in him dying, I'm just saying. So then, what happened next? Are you sure about this? Of course, see? I even drew the picture of him. Here. But It was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. That was just this year. The Blue Badger didn't exist 2 years ago. It's all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling I'd seen him before somewhere. He's going for your soul. Prepare thyself. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face, with its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it, and he had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. Maybe. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh? And I suppose you have an explanation. By all means, show us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when the lightning flashed? Who is this Blue Badger really? The Blue Badger hadn't even been drummed up when Emma drew this picture, yet she was certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on the fateful day 2 years ago, there was indeed something that looked similar to the Blue Badger. Something that's sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright? In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in this instant? Creepy horns, creepy horns, creepy horns, creepy horns. Oh. The mysterious Blue Badger was in fact this. But that's... what is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like that Blue Badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? We gotta show them the correct angle to look at this from. Oh my god, it took me too long for me to find that. Oh boy. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the Blue Badger. It took me too goddamn long for that. Yeah. Order! Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious Blue Badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Actually, although we all enjoyed Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that Blue Badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. I don't want to do that puzzle again. You see, this changes everything. How? Indeed. Very well. Please, tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw the jar? Location, murderer... Let me just take this in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yeah, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on the shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yeah. And it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place at Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's? Yeah. Why? Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. I do not know the reason, so, you know. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. I haven't. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to be the impact of the man who made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to the picture once more. If the man was knocked into the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah! The suit of armor! Holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword! Yeah. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking... Yeah, the suit of fucking armor killed him. There's another possibility of what actually transpired in the room. Another one! Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright? What's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall, I mean, I already knew, but, you know, it still kind of hurts. You mean, Mr. Marshall died because of me? Man. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Oh, man. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Sky, but given the circumstances... Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall! How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin this crime on her? Imagine that. Imagine that coming from you. If you can recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, right? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, you have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to need to have proof. Tell me. Okay. I mean, I don't like this either. I'm sorry. Do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify without Maya here. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim left us a message. For better or worse, Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, that's the only possibility left for you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I hope so. I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright! Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys that shit somehow. Wait, was that actually it? Okay. This is the message left by the deceased. This is the blue badger from before, right? Huh? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this. That this is the jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on the jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yeah, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments were not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying is that these dots were once lines? Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left in him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where those lines changed directions. Precisely though. So, all we need to do is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? I don't know. Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal the answer. I swear if I have to write Japanese, I'm fucked. Okay. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. The name. What the fuck? It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocent. That's what I've been thinking. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it'd turn out like this. Emma. Wow. So Marshall was like, fuck this bitch. I saved her and this is what I get. Fuck her or something like that. God damn. I mean, he was like, damn, I mean, wow. Wow, okay. Damn. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. I mean, it wasn't exactly intentional, right? It was for, what was considered the greater good. It's manslaughter, kind of, but, I mean, come on, it was bullshit, It's like tripping over a line and then it makes a domino effect which causes a piano to fall onto someone else. Is that really considered murder? No, that's considered bullshit. Oh, of all people. She may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Seaworthy, didn't I warn you? Chief Gantz. Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, right? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. Objection! But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Don't you know, we aren't defenders of justice. Huh? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone might say, this fact cannot be denied. What is going on? Order, order, order! The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Holy fuck. Wait, can a fuck be holy? Ah, whatever. Not important. Okay, how important is my sleep? Sorry, Edgeworth. Didn't mean to get you in trouble. Huh, don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Hello. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Hold it! What is this? What is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Wait, what? I'll take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, pal, this is the last time. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this the other day. Okay. Chief Prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him. Guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Okay then. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now though. All that's left now is Chief Prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why am I still sitting in the prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today has begun. What? What else is there to do? Your credibility's been ruined in this forged evidence you're unaware of. And must Sky find out she was unwittingly caused the man's death? And now you're telling me you want to do more? Gotta be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife in his dead body. That means the real killer is still out there. Huh? And we're going to expose him, no matter the cost. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to end it. Okay, whatever. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor? The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth the witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witness. I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone's been talking and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. But there's no precedence for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Wright? What do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the proposal. Then it's settled. The defense may call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, you're fucked. The defense calls... Okay. Damon Gant. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant had first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to be manipulated by me. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gent to the stand. The time has come. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What's this? Some kind of practical joke? I was on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, huh? But please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Davin Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. Why the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean the time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Personally, I think it was made clear already. There are still things unaccounted for. Like what? Like the role you played in all this. Son, you're either very brave or very foolish. I'm probably both. You're aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimonies for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. Huh? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well. The witness may now begin his testimony. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently, she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him! He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma said Neil flying, it seems Drake bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut. If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I better hit him hard and fast. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Sky also present in the room? I don't remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. So the two of you ran immediately after him? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that? The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil when that knife went through his heart though. That's not funny. Could you tell us about what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and the serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled up. Dark was lying, collapsed on the floor. Apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls, Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. How do you know? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means you found the bodies near Lana's desk. That's right. I think you said earlier. It was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor. Yeah. Anyway. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at the office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must feel. Don't say that backwards. But moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, right? If you're going to stare at anything, you're better off staring at the court record. Worthy. Always a smooth talker. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I got to link Gant to the incident. Gotcha, bitch! If you really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how do you explain this? What's that? And is that a handprint? Chief Gant? Explain! I don't know. You tell me. Huh? My dear Righto, don't you know the second rule of evidence law? Oh, not this again. Evidence law. Unregistered evidence must be related to the case on trial. Tell me, how is this rag relevant to the trial? It appears the defense was not prepared. Guess it's too early to use this piece of evidence. Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense another chance? Haha! Okay, I'll do it just this once, but only because you asked, Yugi. Thank you. I assure you the defense is terribly sorry. Yeah, sorry I didn't nail you. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid this is a claim you can't back up. Explain. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar for example. That's the blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Gant, these articles of evidence discovered in your office are both concrete proof that you played a part in this. Chief Gant, what is the meaning of this? Oh, here's the defense attorney, who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in this. Who? Me? What do you mean, you? Me? Why me? Well, you were the one who stuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Raito? However, Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy? Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. So like SpongeBob and Squidward then. Okay. Yes, well, in light of his presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and the relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? Jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. You arranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Mr. Wright? Yeah? When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today is, well, you know. Alright, Yugi. In return, though. I know. That place, right? Huh? What are these guys Are these guys telepathic? Maybe. But if you look, they all have like eye swirls. I'm just assuming that they have, you know, the Eyes of Horus. I don't know. The Eyes of Horus heresy? I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and... But Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, right? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it. Later. What do you mean, later? What else? I'm talking about when Raito's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, that would prove his investigation is illegal. Never faced someone as slimy as this guy. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at the crime scene isn't forgery, I'm not through speaking yet. It all depends on when it was discovered. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The Chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however, clever as they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come on now, Righto. Think about it. How can you look me in the eye and say that? Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see? Really, Chief. At the very least, there was one very large benefit you reaped from all this. Oh, I wasn't aware. What is its benefit? A friend. With benefits. That would be, of course, the position you have, Chief of Police. Oh? The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Huh? Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without the case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable. Just a little. Is that true? Yes. Shit. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might be the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than it. You know me better than that. There's only three people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There. It's out in the open now. Yugi, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little? Please do. Nothing in it for you. Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl. Lana's little sister, right? If you think I felt sorry for her, you better think again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and be tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ha 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 ha! Oh, that's such a good one, Worthy. But there have been something in it for him. Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist. Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand in murder. That's not what I mean. Very well then. Who is this person you believe this... Yeah, whatever, I'm not finishing now. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye? The defendant? I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. I like that series of books. Not the Netflix series though. But the movie with Jim Carrey was pretty cool. I mean, not entirely accurate, but Jim Carrey was just the best, okay? He carried that movie. Just like how he carried the Sonic movies. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is I'm gonna cut that part out. Self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Sky was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant. But how would he profit from all of this? He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations. You mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, wait. He must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind. Admit it, Chief. I can't get over just now. I can't get over just now. Come on. That was such a dumb joke. Why? Why am I feeling the giggles? You assisted Lana Sky in forging evidence. Your motive? To appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right, my boy. You have quite an imagination. No, I do. And not exactly clean. I'm sorry. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have proof that I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I done such a thing? Lana, she's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture. Unless that is also what happened in this incident. This incident? Which one? Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout the entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. What do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Luna take the rap to cover up his involvement. What? 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 Yeah, okay, whatever. Mr. Wright, you can't be serious! Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible! Watch me. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edwards said in easier to understand language? I don't buy it. It's too late, right? There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who decided to go through with this. You proved this, right? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder. Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, he's just a man, a mortal. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell us. I see. Alright then. Come on. Let's see what Wright's got, and it better be good. Show us the evidence that he is the man behind the murder. He's purple? This is the ID card list. Yeah, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. That. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove my card number. It's your number. How do you know? The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits? You don't mean... I'm afraid so. The code was 77777777. Same as the remaining ID card number on the list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search in my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Wright to be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Shit. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you. About the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, do you bleed? When you enter the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, just as I do as the evidence room. Goodman wouldn't have happened to... He wouldn't have happened to be with you on that day, right? Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing: what transpired during the meeting. In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask for evidence, and evidence you'll get after I save for the trillionth time. I hope you guys like the save screen, because I love it. Yes. Detective Goodman lost his ID card that day. Or to be more accurate, Marshall stole it. So Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Yet, you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you asked? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to? Yes, to transfer the evidence out. Oh? Detective Goodman took the form to you, Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? Yes, you did. There's no other way the murderer and Goodman have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the chief of police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly. But wait, the chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yeah. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done something of the sort. Sorry, But that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. And you showed us your ID card earlier. You really lent it to Goodman. It would have been found on his body. What was that? Gigant! You didn't! Who the fuck was that? The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime for no one in their right mind. No one would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of the body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office, the parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office at the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Oh, you think I ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this dead guy to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. Yeah, it's so obvious, I'm just saving. And all this time, I thought it would be a useless clue taking up space. Yes, how could he have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us the evidence. Yep, it's the screwdriver, right? This is how he moved the body. What's that? A screwdriver? What does that have to do with the case? Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Nah! After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because he asked you to. You mean The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by the car. Detective Goodman's body was carried to the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Lana Skye. Okay, what's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal in the defense's outrageous accusations? Think back to the photograph Miss Stark took at the prosecutor's office. This is not a photo of the body being stuffed away in the trunk to be taken away. It's the opposite. It's the photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe. Your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Righto, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're gonna make it in time for the early bird special. But the cross-examination ain't done yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. That's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away like a little bitch. Run away. Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you have any conclusive evidence, you ought to have presented it by now. Well, I need to save. You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show proof and get it over with. I'll say. Mr. Wright, he is the chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations without concrete proof. Well, Your Honor, do you have any concrete proof that Damon murdered Goodman and made Sky dispose of the body? Yes. Concrete proof? No. There's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. No, Your Honor. As present, I have none. Yeah, whatever. See, Yugi? In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. Huh? Here is a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, righto. It seems that Lady Luck is on my side again today. Okay, Yugi, I'll leave the rest to you. You know, seeing them just fade out is just the most funny shit ever. I don't know why. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is a threat to a senior officer to our nation's law enforcement agency. Huh? Ooh. Lady Luck. Maybe we should have a word with her. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you think? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room. Who is this person? Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgot? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't stop now. Yeah? The defendant. Miss Lana Sky? She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task? To dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in Hold on. Huh? Chief Gant? I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. He's talking to Lana. I don't think you need to tell me. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. This ain't good. Of course, you'd never support such an outrageous claim anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alrighty then. I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Gumshoe! I'm not a detective anymore. I know. Sorry. Don't worry about it. I already decided what to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Maya? No one can replace her. How dare you suggest that? Not even Eva could. Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? Mewing, I don't know. It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, Wright. Remember what the judge said? Risks? What does he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds the truth. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Oh, hi, Emma. I'm glad you're smiling after just now. God knows I won't. Emma, you alright? Yeah. When it came to, I was in the medical office. Oh. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. I would not be relieved. No. Huh? Relieved? Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all to protect me. Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier for her that way. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside, to force herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. Anything? That must be why she became so cold. It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall. Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. So if she does it, she's fine. But if a guy does it, and he becomes the Joker, okay, I see. I mean, you could argue that she doesn't have any mental illnesses, but I mean, to be fair, you know, I mean, okay, fine, she has friends. She has friends, so she's safe. Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor. I see. Well, you better get back. It's time for the final countdown. Emma, why don't you wait here? No, I'm going with you. Okay then. I want to be there. When Lana tells the truth. Let's go, Wright. It's time to finish this. Holy fuck, how many parts are there? You know what? Fuck it. Another. Now then. Will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand? Miss Lana Sky, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of you. But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Sky. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Well, time to contradict it. Are you sure? Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana! If this is true, that means Gant had nothing to do with this. That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Wright, you gotta help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me. What if she's telling the truth? She's not. I know my sister. Are you sure? Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony. Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. How many years, huh? Ever since I made senior detective. I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years. Wait, 24 plus 5, that's 29. Oh, so she's about 31? Detective Gant and Detective Sky were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good coming from the same school as Maya. Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why... But think about it, Miss Sky. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. You still don't get it. Do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. Oh, damn. I stabbed Goodman with a knife. And... Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. And end it, I guess. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. Really? You're just gonna call him a creep? That's why I can't forgive him. Lana. So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago? You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? Eesh. But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark? Fuck. Something like that. If that's so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh? That was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All to protect me! So you found the crime scene like this. What did you do? After all... Shut up, phone. This is what everything boils down to. Yes. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of the others. But why did you do that? Come now, Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out. Let's add this to the testimony. The reason Miss Sky fabricated the knife. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, correct? Yes, and leaving it, at that point, might point the blame away from Dark. I felt that most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body. So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound? Yes. Because I hated Dark for what he did. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period. Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence? She's lying! She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened! In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright! My sister's lying! Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insisted she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it all alone! I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. I'm surprised that was the answer. Miss Sky, understand how you feel. You committed the crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony. A contradiction? In my testimony? You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." That's right. You have a problem with that. It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar with the victim's blood. Yeah, the prosecutor must have written in his final moments. Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not have yet been broken before he died. He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Order! Order! Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and this bloody message. You may be missing something critical here. Something critical? I wonder if it's moist. Chief Prosecutor. It seems you're as in the dark as we are. But the truth towards where we're headed. What? Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was a bit dark in the room, and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I sure got, them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. You mean you weren't the one who wiped away the message in blood? I was the chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. So that jaw was already broken. It's a miracle that thing hasn't broken earlier. It certainly looks like a feeble... It looks as feeble as the defense's case. But not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You are an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally I would have. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar? No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. Well, that helps my case. Lana, you'd do that for me? Seems you two might make up yet. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. This is rather shocking. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. What else could I have done in that situation? Lana! I only had a few moments. That wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black. A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. Why? I never miss anything. I got every last piece. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene? Yes. I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I treated you so badly all this time. It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gone to the bottom of this incident. No doubt the stain will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office. While contradictions have surfaced in her testimony, your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Honestly, I don't even know. I'm surprised that was the answer. What? Why is it always the jar? This guy. I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. And me, apparently. What? You found the final piece of the jar in Chief Gant's safe. In the Chief's safe? But how? I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about the final piece. There was still blood on it. But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them. Yeah, which leaves us with one explanation. On that night, Marshall was murdered. You were not the first one to show up to the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are far too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That very well may be, but everyone makes mistakes. That's what makes them human. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Ha, can you believe that? Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that! There's no way a name could be written on the shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first... The question is, if he did arrive there first, how did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, can you answer that? Why is he screaming? Wait, I'm not the one on trial here! Yeah, exactly, what the fuck? Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar, and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is the action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lena Sky believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped to create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Sky became the Chief's puppet, and hopefully not doll. Ooh. No, I did it on my own! Ooh, that must hurt. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief! I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake! No, you didn't! It wasn't you, Emma! You didn't kill anyone! Don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. Oh yeah? I can name one attorney who has updated the autopsy report on that very fucking day. Can you name any attorneys who did that? I don't know, maybe, but I'm just saying, you know? Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own clients. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Such a tongue twister. My tongue is just horrible. Twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Lana. Maybe right after all. What do you mean, right? So you did tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright? Miss Sky, not even gonna answer that? Okay. Please testify once more. But if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Mr. Marshall, Prosecutor Marshall, might also be a lie. But I remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. Miss Sky, if you will. I can't. There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth. This feels like when mom and dad are like telling me to tell the truth that I did something. And then it's like, if you do, the punishment will be less, and then the punishment is not less. Very well. I'll testify of what I really saw. Alright, witness may testify once more for the final time. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor's sword. Whew. I like this. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me to remove the body and from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. Yeah. Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor's sword? You were the only one who saw that. Only you had proof. Actually, I do. Huh? I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning. To me? It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed. But I don't remember receiving a picture like that. Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you. Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present us this picture. I will. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her. Let's check the evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Bio. Oh. Hey, there's a picture here. Ooh. Oh my! This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this, because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Okay. Mr. Wright! That piece cut up from his vest! Could it be? Cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's this? Okay, yeah. Okay. That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whatever fingerprints those are, must be the real murderer. Ooh. What? Well, those fingerprints... They're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Let's get on with this. So long as you tell the truth. we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the defendant. Ah, fuck. Come now, Yugi. This is the poorest excuse of a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant? What? Now you want to make me the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. So what? You think I'm worried? Fuck. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still provide evidence. True. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, but someone does. Someone? So what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, I'm assured to be made out the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I don't know, I just need a comfort save right here, man. I need to think this through carefully. Can't afford to make the wrong decision. Can I present the piece of evidence? The one who shows? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe! I know you took all inside! The conclusive evidence! I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? You found it together! Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose ever fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See that victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? Looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Ah, backfired, huh? Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Mr. Wright. Well, I couldn't just let you pin me up as a murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using the evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. But I tampered with the crime scene. I hid 2 pieces of evidence. That was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you. 2 pieces of evidence. You mean the items left in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance. I was sure my plan would work, but it's best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder committed by that girl. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hit the most illegible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Ho ho ho! Some people just don't know when to quit, huh? That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto. Cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. Yes, I admit to it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But that's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? I'm saying that I need to serve. Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolishness, Wright. Foolishness. You should have shown it before it was too late. Trust me, I tried. It did not end well. It's been a long battle. Yeah, it has been. Damn. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Let's see this conclusive evidence. Okay. Shit. That's not what I meant to do. I'm getting butterfingers now. Whew. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh yeah! At least you finally brought it out in the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged? It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Ho ho ho! You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Raito had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever these fingerprints must belong to, must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whom these fingerprints belong to is... Emma? Emma Sky? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? Ho 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 ho! You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and yet you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic but true. This girl really did shove Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Sky! You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said, it's not over. Shut up, fool. Till it's done. Ha! I'm afraid it's over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposefully concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat's got your tongue. Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? To play TF2? How it feels to play Demo Man from Team Fortress 2. Lazy Purple did that already. How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I had to clear up. And what's that? Who really killed Neil Marshall? Huh? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you asked? It was Emma Sky, right? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. A contradiction? And I'm gonna have to point it out, but I don't even know what it is. What's this fool waffling about? I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold! The piece of evidence that, contradicts this cloth? Now what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes! His shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. It's only natural. His lungs opened out, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. But that piece of cloth is clean. Wait, there's no blood on it. Ha ha ha, gotcha, bitch. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword that time. This is nonsense! Hey, you hear that? That's the sound of my victory incoming. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Lana Sky? picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armored sword. Then, to make it look like the Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that was then broken on purpose to leave behind a clue, and made Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you ensured that you proved that you were the actual murderer. I'm screen capping that, that's awesome. Yeah, it's too late for that, but whatever. It's finally over. That was right. That was close, righto. Yeah, what's hacked me? Okay, it's not over yet? Okay. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see that piece of cloth? It's illegal evidence. But is it still evidence? Order. Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Yugi? Earlier, old Wright here concealed that evidence. I mean, the other choice just led to a game over. What do you want me to do? Well, that's true. The defendants did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be illegal evidence. Pretty sure it was never illegal, to be honest. But that's not fair! Ho ho ho! Did you actually think you'd get best of me in court? It looks like the last laugh is on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright. It seems at last. Yeah. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, you admit to it, that you purposefully and illegally concealed this piece of cloth. I admit I refused to present it at one point. Haha, so the evidence is illegal! No, it's not. Huh? It's not that I didn't present it then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? If I did, I would get a game over. There were certain procedures involved in presenting evidence. No, Yugi, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a little bitch. He can't really believe. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well. Let us all settle this once and for all. Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you cannot prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, do so now. This is my proof. Evidence law. Oh, it has a little bird on it. Aww. I want to hug it. What's this? It's for dummies like you. You can tell by the bird. I've done my homework too, bitch. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, At that point in time, it was merely a piece of cloth. Nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Ha 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 ha. Rule number 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, did not have approval from the police department. Rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the point of time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? You got it. Sorry, but can you recall, when was this picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value was you, damn it, Gant. Oh wait, I'm holding the A button. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Oh, if you hold down the A button, it just auto-scrolls. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And then, it is you that approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who could be. Damn it, Gant. The killer was you. What not mewing does to a motherfucker, I guess. Or maybe that's what mewing does to a motherfucker? I don't know. I mean, if he mewed, he would have had a better reaction, but he didn't. So he did that. I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he'd been snooping around the department, trying to get something off of me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Bruce... Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden, he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? Can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many unanswered questions. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand this all to Marshall." Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when he saw it. The accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would only lead to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The blood handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I guess no. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry. I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk. What's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. He's channeling his inner Kevin Levin. You know, he's internally thinking, my car! Or something like that. Leaving the prosecution's car aside. How? How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being the investigator of the crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well much upon close examination. Must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why did you stand in court? Me. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me. We're the same. Shut your bitch ass up with that bullshit, okay? I heard that enough of that, okay? Too much of that. You know, you are me, bro. Come on. Green Goblin did it better. One day, you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You don't matter. You'll see what it really takes to bring him down once you try to go at it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Yuki? What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. It's not romantic, right? Right. Sorry, old friend. I'm sorry too, damn it, Gantz. I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Yugi. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have Raito here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning. Is this confirmation of a sequel? Holy shit! Ace Attorney 2? When? There are two things I want you to understand. Yeah? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Demon Gantz betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell you everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gantz help me forge evidence, up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky. couldn't get you out of your trouble. My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knew? Who knew? Who knows? A few years from now, you might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. You were gonna retire, bro. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. Oh, believe me, it did. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. Honestly, if he didn't like write that retirement letter, we would have been fucked anyway. So, you know, thanks Edgeworth for being a pussy, I guess. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it! I only did my job. In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky? Yes, Your Honor. You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is that you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. Is there something amusing about all this? Why are you smiling? It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains. That sounds kinda kinky, in some sense. I mean, you don't know the Dammit requests, right? Could be anything. And yeah, they could involve chains. And handcuffs. And lubricants. Wait, what? Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Oh, you're telling me. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant Here comes the confetti. That is all. Court adjourned. At long last, it's finally over! Oh, Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook, but at least she wasn't convicted for murder. No, it's not that. Just now, after the trial ended. You know, I did my best too. Oh, am I gonna have to show her something to make her happy or something? But Mother didn't say a single thing to me. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. It's getting old, okay? It's getting old. Oh, yes I am. I'll be back. Can you not? Come on! Been doing this on purpose, are you? Making a detective run around while on duty? And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen people happier at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding. Oh? Are you here because of my sister again? Nope. Not this time. Came today because of you, pal. Me? That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone. Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know. Well, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology. It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it. That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess. Sis, I asked Gan to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it past the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew. But sis, you were doing it for me. No. Huh? I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you. Sis, I was such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm sorry. But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now. You're happy? Of course. You know, sis? I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have. Oh, Emma. And she's going to jail now. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in doing so, who are you talking to, by the way? We can find the way back to our rightful path. And it's from there that we can move on towards a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe. Me? Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Is that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. What? Where was he hiding? I just came to say congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Right, well, I'll be going now. He's like Zuko from Avatar, huh? Okay. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. You were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize that today, I can't correct my mistakes. Mr. Edgeworth! Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gans was right. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. Well, right this way! It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. but Edgeworth. Who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma, were both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. Right this way. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Phoenix Wright. And because of the partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Wright? Huh? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz? If there was, it'd be a text box. Come on now, Mr. Wright. Show him what Miss Ilana is talking about. The fuck? What? Evidence, huh? Something that... That's the picture I drew! Yeah, I only went through like 9 pieces of evidence because I didn't know what the hell was going on. Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't be able to completely restore Emma's picture. That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth! If you'll excuse me, there are still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor. Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe you my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting. Farewell. I better get going too. Okay, but I'll come by. I'll be by to visit you soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Who's the writer? And who's the artist? The artist is cooking, bro. Ooh. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will. And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. What was that? A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go tracking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh? Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, but I do. Yeah, well, haha. You see, I'm Mr. Wright here. Wright's here is the one. Ah, fuck, I can't read. Mr. Wright here is the one who'll be footing the bill. Huh? Huh? What, you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Huh? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Hey, you'll pay me back after this. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all pay for it together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys, let's go. He's like, oh hell nah. Another set of credits, huh? Fucking hell, why? Just what I... whatever. God damn it. Yeah, someone made that... Of course, of course. Oh, he went to visit Maya? That's adorable. Wait, what? Why? Okay, whatever. I did not expect this. Hey, let me see too. Come on. My gosh. Well, that was really something, huh? Well, I did it. I completed the 5 cases. Wow. Well, that's the first game, alright. You know, for a first game, they really came out swinging, huh? I mean, the first game was, the spacing was a bit weird. I mean, the only other experience I have with this kind of game is a game called Tyrion Cuthbert. So it's like, normally there's like more, like, how should I say, defendants. Like, oh, defend this guy. Oh, defend that guy. Defend that guy. Before defending people close to you. Okay, it starts off as defending someone close to you, and then random people, and then from there it builds up the case, like the bigger story, while defending those people, and then at the final one, it builds up to, involve more characters and stuff, and then, a character close to you again at the end. That was the structure of Tyrion Cuthbert, if I remember right. I don't know, it's been like 6 months since I played the game, or more, probably more. But this one is only like the absolute beginning, the tutorial. Case 1 is more of a tutorial. There's no investigation, it's just court case. So it was that, and you were defending butts. And then the second was saving the sidekick, Maya. Then case 3 was some random dude, an actor. And, that was... I think the purpose of the episode was to build up, like, Edgeworth and Gumshoe to be more respectable characters, because even though they were introduced in episode 2, or case 2, whichever you prefer, I fucking hated them. like, I didn't hate them as characters, I hated them because they got in my way, like holy crap. But then episode 3 was like, well, Gumshoe saved your life, and Edgeworth saved the case. So, it redeemed them as characters. And case 4 was the epic conclusion. But I felt like there could have been more room to breathe with that game. With the story, like, maybe more filler or whatever. Building up the story, but I mean, it didn't feel too rushed. I just wish there was more of that, more wacky ass crazy characters and stuff like that. But I have a feeling that that's gonna pop up in episode 2 and 3, in the second and third game. I mean, those memes didn't come out of nowhere, right? So, I'll be getting to that soon. Actually, I'm taking a small break from this game, but it's not because I'm bored of the game. It's because, I've been using OBS as a way to record my videos, but I'm unhappy with the vocal track because I don't know. I don't like it. I try tuning it every now and then, but I still don't like it. I actually wanted to do this earlier, but I didn't want to make it break the consistency of the game. So I figured between the first and second game is the best time to try things out. So I'm gonna play a smaller game with the sole focus of tuning things up. So I'm gonna switch from using OBS to the AMD Adrenaline software and record things and separate the vocal track, because you can do that and filter it post-production, post-recording, and then add it to the video. I'm not sure how that'll sound, and I'm not gonna guarantee that it sounds consistent throughout the game, throughout the playthrough, because I'm gonna do it multiple episodes and tweak it multiple times and experiment with mic positions and stuff. But I mean, I guess I'll see later on. That part's kind of unrelated to the game. But yeah, this was a great beginning. This was such an amazing franchise. If another Ace Attorney game were to come out, like a new one, would it be filled with microtransactions? I hope not. It's like, game over! $5! Yeah, I'm screwed. Anyway, I think that's enough. With that being said, thank you so much for watching my playthrough of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And if you like what you see, stay tuned and stay awesome. Good night.